The text message from my mother-in-law arrived at exactly 6:47 a.m. Annual Homes Christmas photo shoot Saturday, 2 p.m. sharp. Wear cream or sage, no prints. I stared at my phone, already knowing what would come next. My name is Juliet, and for the past 3 years I've watched my husband's family perfect the art of making me disappear. "Babe, you know how Mum gets about these things," Sean said from across our kitchen, already defensive before I'd even spoken. "It's for the company website and holiday catalogue." "I know exactly how your mother gets," I replied, taking a sip of my coffee. "That's what worries me. The Holmes family lifestyle brand was built on perfection, or at least the carefully curated appearance of it. Before my accident, when I was still dancing with the City Ballet, they loved having me in their photos. The graceful daughter-in-law, all long limbs and elegant poses. But that was before the drunk driver, before the wheelchair. "Just try to make it easy this year," Sean pleaded, adjusting his tie. "Last year's drama with the ramp—" "You mean when they forgot to have one ready? That drama?" He kissed my forehead, already heading for the door. "I'll see you there on Saturday. Love you." The mansion was exactly as imposing as always, all marble and massive windows. Roslyn, my best friend and personal photographer, dropped me off with a squeeze of my hand. "Text me how it goes," she said, eyes knowing, "or if you need an escape plan." Inside, the great room had been transformed into a studio. Vivian, my mother-in-law, was directing staff with military precision. "The garland needs to be fuller there. No, the stockings should alternate patterns. Eleanor, make sure the lighting catches the brand logo." "Juliet!" Ivy, my sister-in-law, swooped in for an air kiss. "That shade of cream is a bit warm, isn't it? Mother specifically said winter cream." Before I could respond, Vivian appeared. "Darling, you're here. We're almost ready. Craig, is the staircase arrangement set?" I looked at the elaborate setup. The grand staircase was decorated with twinkling lights and garland, clearly meant to be the centerpiece of the shoot. My stomach dropped. "How exactly am I supposed to—" I gestured to the stairs, then my wheelchair. The room went quiet. Vivian's smile didn't waver, but her eyes turned to steel. "Oh, sweetheart, we thought it would be easier if you sat this one out. The stairs, you understand, and the aesthetic needs to be cohesive." "Cohesive," I repeated flatly. "Mom," Sean started, but Vivian cut him off. "It's for the best, dear. The wheelchair would distract from the holiday message we're trying to convey. Family tradition, timeless elegance." "And I disrupt that message?" Ivy chimed in, hand resting on her slightly swollen belly. "It's nothing personal, Jules. It's business. The brand has a certain image." "Sean," I turned to my husband, voice steady. "Any thoughts?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. "It's just easier this way, Jules. We can take our own photos later." The photographer began arranging everyone on the stairs. Vivian in the centre, Craig standing proud behind her. Ivy and her husband on one side, Sean on the other. Perfect symmetry. Perfect family. "You can watch from here," Eleanor, the PR manager, offered kindly, gesturing to a spot just out of frame. "The angle is lovely." I sat there silently as the camera clicked and flashed. Watched them shift and pose, Vivian calling out adjustments. "Sean, stand straighter. Ivy, angle your bump toward the camera. Everyone smile, natural smiles." My phone buzzed in my lap. A text from Roslyn. "How bad is it?" I looked up at my picture-perfect family, arranged on their grand staircase like dolls in a display case. At my husband, who couldn't even look in my direction. At Vivian, orchestrating her flawless family portrait while her broken daughter-in-law sat in the shadows. "They want me out of frame," I typed back. Again. 3 dots appeared as Roslyn typed. Then, "Want me to come burn the place down?" Despite everything, I smiled. "No, I have a better idea." I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't touched in months. Julian Reyes, creative director at Luxara, the Holmes brand's biggest competitor, the man who'd been trying to get me to consult for them since before my accident. "Let's talk," I wrote. "Urgent. I have a concept." The camera flashed again. In the brief burst of light, I caught my reflection in one of the massive windows. I looked like a ghost at the edges of their perfect world, but not for long. "Remember when we first met?" Roslyn asked, adjusting her camera lens. "You were about to throw your physical therapist out a window." I laughed, watching her set up in my apartment. He kept telling me to accept my new normal, like I was supposed to just smile and nod while everyone treated me like I was made of glass. "And now your in-laws are treating you like you're made of shame." Roslyn's dark eyes flashed. "So what's the plan?" Before I could answer, my phone lit up. Julian was calling. "Juliet," his voice was warm through the speaker. "I've been hoping you'd reach out. Your message was intriguing." "How would you like to revolutionize holiday marketing?" I asked, wheeling closer to the phone. "Something real, raw, beautiful." "I'm listening." The Holmes brand owns Christmas, their perfect family portraits, their curated lifestyle shoots. It's all artificial. What if we showed people what real beauty looks like? With you as the face? Julian's tone sharpened with interest. With me as the start, but not just me. Real families, different bodies, actual love, not posed perfection. Roslyn was already nodding, her camera forgotten. "Holy shit, Jules, you're not just going for revenge, you're going for revolution." "The timing would have to be perfect," Julian said. "We'd need to shoot next week to launch before their holiday campaign." "I can do that." I glanced at Roslyn. "We both can." "Send me a concept board by tomorrow. If our creative team loves it, we'll fast-track everything." After hanging up, Roslyn pulled out her laptop. "Let's brainstorm. What's the opposite of their sterile staircase shot?" I closed my eyes, remembering my dancing days. Movement, real emotion, no hiding. We worked through the night. Roslyn shot test photos while I posed, not hiding my wheelchair but making it part of the art. By morning, we had a deck that made us both cry. Julian's response came within hours. "Meeting. Today, 2 p.m. The Luxara offices were everything the Holmes brand wasn't. Modern, bold, alive with energy. Julian met us in the lobby himself, his smile genuine. "These concepts," he said, leading us to the conference room. "They're exactly what we've been looking for. The authenticity, the elegance. It's revolutionary." The creative team was already waiting. As we presented, I watched their faces shift from professional interest to genuine excitement. "We'll need to move fast," Julian said after. "Full campaign, billboards, social, print. Are you ready for that level of exposure?" "You mean, am I ready for my in-laws to see it?" I smiled. "That's the point." The next week was a blur. Fittings, makeup tests, location scouts. Roslyn insisted on being the primary photographer. "No one else will capture you like I can." She was right. The first shots took my breath away. Me in a crimson gown, wheelchair draped in twinkling lights. Another in winter white, posed with a diverse group of models who became real friends between takes. "Beautiful," Julian murmured, reviewing the photos. "But we need one more, something that directly answers their staircase shot." That's when I remembered the old theatre downtown. It has a vintage elevator, gold and glass like a birdcage, and a spiral staircase wrapping around it. The shoot ran until midnight, me in the elevator, rising like a queen while others posed on the stairs. Families of all kinds, all abilities, all real and radiant. "This is it," Julian said, staring at the monitor. "This is our hero shot." Back home, I found Sean waiting up. "Where have you been? Mum's been trying to reach you about the holiday card proofs." "I've been working," I said simply, "on something important." "Jules." He ran a hand through his hair. "Can't you just let this go? The photoshoot thing." I wheeled past him toward our bedroom. "You know what I remember most about our wedding, Sean? Not the vows or the dance we practiced for months. I remember you promising to always stand beside me, not behind your mother, not in some perfect family portrait, beside me." "It's complicated." "No, it's really not." I turned to face him. "Your family wants me out of frame, but I'm done being invisible." My phone buzzed. Julian sending the final campaign mock-ups. The first billboard would go up next week, right before the Holmes holiday cards went out. "Everything okay?" Sean asked, noticing my smile. "Perfect," I replied. "Everything's absolutely perfect." And for the first time since that damned photo shoot, I meant it. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else's picture-perfect world. It's about creating something more beautiful in its place. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday, thick cream paper with gold embossing. I didn't need to open it to know what was inside, but I did anyway. "Mrs. Sean Holmes," the address read. Not Juliet, never just Juliet. Inside was the Holmes family holiday card, professionally shot and retouched to perfection. The grand staircase gleamed. Everyone's smiles matched like they'd been copied and pasted. Ivy's hand rested on her belly, positioned exactly where I used to stand. My phone chimed with Instagram notifications. The Holmes brand had just posted the image across all their social channels, celebrating timeless traditions with the ones who matter most. Out of Holmes holidays, dearest family legacy. Rosalind's call came seconds later. "I'm coming over with wine. It's 10 in the morning. Fine, coffee and rage then." She arrived 20 minutes later, laptop tucked under her arm. "Have you seen the comments?" I try not to read. "No, you need to see these." She opened her computer, pulling up the Holmes brand's latest post. "People are asking questions." The comments scrolled past. "Where's Juliet? Didn't their son get married? Kind of weird to exclude family members. They're deleting them as fast as they can," Rosalind said, "but people notice things now. They care about representation." My phone buzzed again. Vivienne. "The cards came out beautifully. Hope you understand why we had to maintain consistency with our brand aesthetic." Before I could respond, another text. "Perhaps we can arrange a private family photo session later. Something more accommodating." "I'm going to throw up," Rosalind declared, reading over my shoulder. "Please tell me the Luxara campaign is ready." "Julian's team is doing final touches. The first billboard goes up tomorrow." "Where?" I smiled. "Right across from Holmes headquarters." The front door opened, Sean coming home early. He froze when he saw Roslyn. "Hey," he said carefully. "Did you get the card?" "You mean the family portrait I'm not in?" "Yeah, got it." He sat down heavily. "Jules, I wanted to include you, but Mum insisted." "Stop." I held up my hand. "Just stop making excuses for her, for yourself." "It's not excuses. The brand has certain requirements." "The brand," Roslyn muttered. "Always the fucking brand." "You don't understand," Sean said. "Our whole family legacy." "I understand perfectly," I cut in. "Your family legacy matters more than your wife. Your mother's approval matters more than my dignity. The aesthetic matters more than actual family." "That's not fair. Look, we'll take our own photos this weekend. Just us." My phone lit up with a text from Julian. "Billboard is going up early. Ready?" "Actually," I said to Sean, "I already have plans this weekend." "What plans?" "You'll see." He left for work frustrated, and Rosalind stayed to help me prepare. We had a podcast interview scheduled for next week, and the Luxara PR team wanted to review talking points. "Remember," Rosalind said, reading from her notes, "you're not attacking anyone. You're celebrating authenticity, rising above, while completely destroying their perfect image. That's just a bonus." My phone kept buzzing with notifications. The Holmes brand was pushing their holiday campaign hard across all platforms, each post more perfect than the last, each one conspicuously missing me. Ivy posted a personal photo. "So blessed to carry on the Holmes family traditions. Baby on the way, key perfect holidays." "She's literally standing in your spot," Rosalind growled. "Not for long." That evening, Julian sent the final billboard proof for approval. Me, in that vintage elevator, rising through a spiral of diverse, joyful faces. The lighting made everything glow like a Renaissance painting. The tagline read, "Integrity looks good on everyone." "It's perfect," I texted back. "We go live at dawn," he replied. ready to shake up their perfect little world? I looked at the Holmes holiday cards still sitting on my table, at all those matching smiles and carefully arranged bodies, at the empty space where I should have been. More than ready. Later that night, Sean tried again. Mum wants to know if you'll come to the holiday party next week. She says she'll make sure there's proper access this time. How generous of her. Jules, please, can't we just have peace for the holidays? I wheeled to our bedroom window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, a crew was preparing to hang the billboard that would change everything. Peace isn't the same as silence, I said quietly, and I'm done being silent. He sighed, defeated. What does that mean? My phone lit up one last time. Julian. Billboards up early. Lights go on in 5. I smiled at my husband. It means tomorrow's forecast calls for chaos. The first call came at 6:43 a.m. Vivienne. I let it go to voicemail. By 7:15, my phone was exploding with notifications. The billboard had gone viral overnight, with people sharing photos from every angle. The morning commute crowd had turned it into a social media moment. Holy shit, Roslyn texted. Have you seen Twitter? I opened the app to find integrity looks good trending. People were sharing their own stories of family exclusion, of being pushed aside for appearances. The Luxara campaign had struck a nerve. What have you done? Vivian's text screamed in all caps. The doorbell rang. Sean stood there, looking like he hadn't slept. The office is in chaos. Mum's having a meltdown. Dad's lawyers are already making calls. About what? I asked innocently. I did a photo shoot, that's all. With our biggest competitor, right before the holidays. He paced our living room. The timing, the message, you knew exactly what you were doing. Yes, I did, just like your mother knew exactly what she was doing when she erased me from the family photos. His phone rang. Ivy. He put it on speaker. Have you seen what she's done? Ivy's voice was shrill. People are attacking our holiday posts. They're calling us ableist. My pregnancy announcement is being flooded with hate comments. That sounds difficult, I said. Being made to feel invisible must be really hard for you. You vindictive little... Sean hung up. You didn't have to go nuclear, Jules. Right, I could have just kept quiet and out of frame. Again. My phone buzzed with a text from Julian. Morning shows want interviews. The campaign's reaching millions. You've started a movement. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Eleanor, the Holmes PR manager, looking frazzled. Please, she said, stepping inside. We need to contain this. The brand is hemorrhaging followers. Major retailers are expressing concerns. Concerns about what? I asked. Their perfect family image being exposed as a lie? We can fix this, she pleaded. Issue a joint statement. Say it was all a misunderstanding. We'll do a new family shoot, fully inclusive. Too late, I said. The truth is already out there. My phone kept lighting up. Lifestyle blogs were running stories. Social media influencers were sharing side-by-side comparisons of the Holmes card and my billboard. The narrative was building itself. You have to help us, Sean begged, for the family. Family, I laughed. The same family that told me to sit in the shadows? That addressed their holiday card to Mrs. Sean Holmes like I'm some nameless extension of you? Eleanor's phone chimed. Her face went pale. Vivienne's going live on Instagram. She's trying to address it herself. We all watched as Vivienne appeared on screen, perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. I want to address the unfortunate misunderstanding regarding our holiday campaign, she began smoothly. Our daughter-in-law's absence was simply a logistical choice, not a statement of any kind. The Holmes brand has always valued... The comments flooded in so fast they blurred. Damage control much? Too little too late. Where was this energy before you got called out? Eleanor ended the stream. This is making it worse. My phone lit up again. Julian had sent a link to a major fashion and inclusivity podcast. They want you live tomorrow. Tell your story, your real story. Sean read the message over my shoulder. Jules, please don't do this. You've made your point. No, I said quietly. I'm just getting started. The doorbell rang a third time. Vivian herself stood there, immaculate as always, but with fury in her eyes. How dare you, she hissed, pushing past me into the apartment. We gave you everything, welcomed you into our family. No, I cut her off. You tolerated me when I fit your image. The moment I needed a wheelchair, I became an inconvenience to your perfect picture. It was business, the brand. The brand is built on lies, I said, and now everyone knows it. She stepped closer, voice low. You'll regret this. When the dust settles, when Sean has to choose. He already chose, I said, looking at my husband. Every time he stood silent while you pushed me aside, every time he picked your image over his wife. Sean started to speak, but his mother's phone rang. Craig, calling from the office. The stock is dropping, we heard him say. Major sponsors want meetings. This is bad, Vivian. She turned to me, and for the first time I saw fear crack through her perfect mask. What do you want? She asked. To destroy everything we've built? I wheeled to the window, looking out at the city where my billboard now towered. No, I said. I want to build something better. Tell me about the moment you realised you weren't welcome in your own family photos, the podcast host asked, her voice gentle but direct. I adjusted my microphone, aware of the millions listening live. It wasn't just one moment, it was a series of small erasures, each one carefully explained away as logistics or aesthetics or brand requirements. And the holiday card was the final straw? Being told to sit just outside the frame? That was certainly the most obvious metaphor. I smiled. Sometimes people show you exactly who they are, if you're willing to see it. The interview continued for an hour. I never mentioned the Holmes brand by name, but I didn't have to. Social media was already connecting the dots, sharing clips in real time. My phone vibrated continuously throughout the recording. I checked it afterward. Ivy. You're destroying everything our parents built. I hope you're happy. Eleanor. Please call me. We need to discuss damage control. Sean. Mum's in tears. Dad's talking about early retirement. Is this what you wanted? The last message was from Julian. Check your email. You need to see this. A journalist had sent him documents. Internal Holmes brand communications spanning the last decade. Discrimination complaints buried under settlements. Workplace accessibility issues swept under designer rugs. This goes deeper than your holiday card, Julian said when I called him. They've been cultivating this exclusive image for years, pushing out anyone who didn't fit their mould. Can we use this? Legally, yes. The question is, do you want to? Before I could answer, Roslyn burst into my apartment. Have you seen what Eleanor just posted? She held up her phone. A video of me, clearly edited from old footage, apologising for any misunderstanding about the holiday photos. The fake apology was already spreading. They're desperate, Julian said when I forwarded it to him. This kind of amateur manipulation will only make things worse for them. He was right. Within hours, social media had torn the fake video apart, analysing every edited frame. The backlash was immediate and fierce. My phone rang. Craig. You've made your point, he said, his usual confidence cracking. Name your price. Excuse me? To stop this, to help us salvage what's left of the brand, whatever you want, money, position, influence. I laughed. You still think this is about leverage? Everything's about leverage, Juliet. You're smart enough to know that. No, I said. This is about truth, about consequences. After hanging up, I opened Instagram. Ivy had posted again, this time with a long caption about family loyalty and private matters. I screenshot it before she could delete it. Should I share this? I texted Roslyn. Do it. I posted the screenshot with a single comment. Interesting thoughts on loyalty from someone who took my place in the family photos. The response was nuclear. Within minutes, Ivy's carefully curated social media presence was overwhelmed with questions and criticism. She took her account private, but the damage was done. The doorbell rang. Vivienne stood there, but not the perfectly polished version I was used to. This Vivian looked tired, desperate. "You have to stop," she said, pushing past me into the apartment. "The board is meeting tomorrow. Craig might lose control of the company." "That sounds difficult," I said, echoing her tone from countless condescending conversations. "Having everything you built slip away must be really hard for you." "Please," she whispered, "we're still family." "Are we? Because families don't erase people, Vivian. They don't hide them away like shameful secrets." My phone buzzed again. A journalist wanting comment on a new story. Holmes Brand, A History of Exclusion. "What is that?" Vivian asked, seeing the headline over my shoulder. "The truth," I said, "about all the other people you've pushed out of frame over the years." She grabbed my wheelchair handles, spinning me to face her. "You don't understand what we've sacrificed to build this legacy." "Don't touch my chair," I said quietly, dangerously. "Ever." She stepped back, composure cracking completely. "What do I have to do? Beg? Is that what you want?" "What I want," I said, "is for you to understand how it feels, to be visible but ignored, included but unwanted, part of the family, but only when it's convenient." My phone lit up with another message, this time from Roslyn. "You need to see this. Craig had a sister. Had." I looked up at Vivian, suddenly seeing her differently. "Tell me something. What happened to Craig's sister?" The colour drained from her face. "How do you know about Margaret?" "I don't, yet, but I will." She left without another word, but her hands were shaking as she closed the door. I opened my laptop and started typing. "Dear Julian, I think we just found our next chapter." "Margaret was the original face of the brand," the elderly woman said, stirring her tea, "before Vivian, before all of this." I'd tracked down Craig's former housekeeper through old employment records. She'd been with the family for 30 years before retiring. "What happened to her?" I asked. "Car accident, like yours, but—" She paused. "She needed more care, more accommodations. Craig was willing, but Vivian—" She shook her head. Suddenly Margaret was taking time away for her health. Then she was gone. My phone buzzed. Julian had sent the mock-ups for Luxara's holiday collection, the one I'd helped design. Classic silhouettes reimagined for all bodies. Elegant, inclusive, real. "They're going to lose their minds," Roslyn said when I forwarded her the images. "That's not even the best part," I replied, sending her what the housekeeper had given me. Photographs of Margaret, newspaper clippings, old company newsletters. "Holy shit," Roslyn texted back. "She looks exactly like you." She did. Same dark hair, same dancer's posture. No wonder Vivian had reacted so strongly to my presence in the family. My phone rang. Sean. "Where are you?" he asked. "Mum's called an emergency family meeting." "I'm busy uncovering your family's secrets." Silence, then, "What are you talking about?" "Ask your father about Margaret." He hung up. Minutes later, texts started flooding in. Ivy. "You're insane. Stop digging up ancient history." Eleanor. "Whatever you think you know, we can explain." Vivienne. "Come to the house. Now. We need to talk." I wheeled into the Holmes mansion an hour later. The whole family was there. Tension thick in the air. "Show them," I said to Craig. He looked older than I'd ever seen him. "Show them what?" I pulled out the photos. "Your sister, the original Holmes brand story, the one Vivian buried." Sean picked up a photo. "Dad, who is this?" "That's enough," Vivian snapped, but Craig held up his hand. "No," he said quietly. "It is enough. Enough hiding." He told them everything. How Margaret had built the brand's initial success. How after her accident, Vivian had convinced him it was better for business to distance themselves. How they'd paid for private care far away, written her out of the company history. "She died last year," Craig finished, alone. Ivy was crying. Sean looked sick. "It was business," Vivian insisted. "The brand wouldn't have survived." "The brand?" I cut in. "Or your perfect image." My phone buzzed. Julian again. "Luxara's legal team is ready. The discrimination files, Margaret's story, It's all documented. Say the word. I showed them the message, watched Vivian's face go pale. You wouldn't, she whispered. Actually, I said, I already did. The story breaks tomorrow, along with the launch of my new collection, designs inspired by Margaret's original work. You'll destroy us, Ivy said. No, you did that yourselves. Every time you chose image over humanity, every time you erased someone who didn't fit your perfect picture. Sean stepped forward. Jules, please, we can fix this. Start fresh. I'll stand up to them this time, I promise. I looked at my husband, really looked at him, saw the boy still seeking his mother's approval, the man who'd let me be erased rather than rock the boat. You had so many chances to stand up, I said softly. You chose your side long ago. My phone lit up with the final campaign images. Me in Margaret's signature designs, reimagined for modern bodies, wheelchair users, prosthetic limbs, all kinds of beauty that the Holmes brand had pushed aside. Tomorrow, I said, the world will see what real family legacy looks like, not perfect poses on staircases, but real love, real inclusion, real integrity. We'll fight this, Vivian said, but her voice shook. Good, I replied, turning toward the door, because I'm done hiding. Outside, Roslyn waited in her car. How'd it go? I smiled. Release everything. She pulled out her phone, sent a single text to Julian. Go. Within minutes, the story was live. Margaret's truth, the buried lawsuits, the systematic erasure of anyone who didn't fit the Holmes mould. And above it all, on billboards across the city, my new collection. A tribute to Margaret, a middle finger to Vivian, and a love letter to everyone who'd ever been told they didn't fit the frame. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Craig. She would have been proud of you. I looked up at the nearest billboard, at the tagline we'd chosen. Every body tells a story. Make yours heard. Time to go home? Roslyn asked. No, I said. Time to make history. The Holmes brand stock has dropped 60% since opening bell, the business reporter announced. Following revelations of systematic discrimination and the explosive story of Margaret. I muted the TV as Julian walked into his office, grinning. Have you seen the pre-orders for your collection? We're crashing servers. And the Holmes numbers? He handed me a tablet. 3 major retailers have pulled their holiday lines. Their biggest investors are demanding emergency board meetings. It's a bloodbath. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since morning. Magazines wanted interviews. Disability advocates were reaching out for collaborations. Justice for Margaret was trending worldwide. Juliet. Eleanor's name flashed on my screen. I put her on speaker. Please, the board is meeting in an hour. They're voting to remove Craig and Vivian. That sounds like a them problem. They're your family. No, I cut in. Margaret was family, and they threw her away. After hanging up, I opened my messages. Sean had sent dozens. They're taking the company. Mum's having a breakdown. Dad's lawyer quit. Please help us fix this. Julian leaned against his desk. Ready for the final blow? I nodded. He pressed a button on his phone. Send it. Across the city, the last billboard of my campaign lit up. The image, me in a wedding dress, surrounded by models of all abilities, all wearing pieces from Margaret's original designs. The tagline, family is more than a frame. My phone exploded again. This time it was Ivy. The board voted, she sobbed. It's over. They're selling to Luxara. Karma's funny that way. Mum's being taken to the hospital. She collapsed during the meeting. Are you happy now? I wheeled to the window, looking out at the city where my face now represented everything the Holmes brand had tried to erase. No, I said honestly, I'm not happy. I'm free. The office door burst open. Sean stood there, looking wrecked. You won, he said. You destroyed everything. The house is being sold. The company's gone. Even Dad's original investors are turning on us. Funny how consequences work. I loved you, he said, voice breaking. Wasn't that enough? Love without action is just words, Sean. You watched them erase me, just like they erased Margaret. You chose their perfect picture over real love every time. I can change. You already did, I said quietly. You changed the moment you let them push me out of frame. Julian cleared his throat. The press conference starts in 10 minutes. Press conference? Sean asked. Luxera's buying the Holmes brand, I explained, but we're not keeping it. We're transforming it into a foundation for disability rights and inclusion in fashion, in Margaret's name. Using their own money, Julian added with a smile. Poetic, isn't it? Sean slumped against the wall. So this was your plan all along? Take everything? No, I said. My plan was to make everything visible. The truth, the discrimination, the real cost of your family's perfect image. My phone lit up with a text from Craig. Margaret would have loved this. I'm sorry I didn't fight for her, or for you. The press conference was a blur of cameras and questions. Me announcing the foundation, Julian revealing the full scope of the acquisition, reporters asking about Margaret, about redemption, about change. Afterward, Rosalind found me in the green room. Vivian's being released from the hospital, she said. Ivy's taking her to stay with relatives upstate. The mansion goes up for sale next week. And Sean, moving in with his sister temporarily, she paused. He left this for you. An envelope, inside divorce papers, already signed. You okay? Rosalind asked softly. Before I could answer, Julian rushed in. You need to see this. He held up his phone. On every major network, our billboard campaign was being called revolutionary. Social media was flooded with people sharing their own stories of exclusion and erasure. The Foundation's website had crashed from donation attempts. We didn't just change the narrative, Julian said. We changed the whole damn game. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. Thank you for telling my story, for making me visible again. M's nurse. I looked up at Rosalind and Julian, my real family, the ones who'd stood beside me through everything. Ready for what's next? Julian asked. I smiled, thinking of all the people who'd finally see themselves represented, who'd know they deserved to be in the frame. More than ready, I said. Let's make some more beautiful trouble. And that's why representation matters, I concluded, looking out at the packed auditorium. Because when you erase someone from the picture, you're telling them they don't deserve to be seen. The applause was thunderous. As I wheeled off stage, Julian met me with a grin. They're ready for the announcement, he said. Back on stage, we unveiled the Margaret Foundation's first major initiative, buying and renovating the old Holmes mansion into an accessible design school and community centre. My phone buzzed. A text from Ivy. Saw you on the live stream. Mum watched too. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the letter that had arrived that morning, the final divorce settlement. Signed, filed, done. You good? Rosalind asked, catching my expression. Better than good. The foundation office was buzzing when we arrived. The first class of design students had been selected. Young artists from all backgrounds, all abilities, each bringing their own vision of beauty. Miss Juliet, a young woman in a wheelchair, approached. I'm wearing one of your designs to my wedding next month. Thank you for showing me I don't have to hide. Before I could respond, my assistant rushed over. Craig's here. He stood in my office doorway, greyer but standing straighter than I remembered. The renovation plans, he said, placing a folder on my desk. I made some suggestions, areas Margaret would have loved. Why are you really here, Craig? He sat heavily. Vivian's in therapy, actually trying this time. Sean's... He paused. Sean's finally standing up for himself. Without the brand to hide behind, we're all facing who we really are. And who are you? A coward who failed 2 daughters. He met my eyes. I can't fix the past, but I can help build this future. My phone lit up. Julian had sent the mock-up for our spring campaign. Beauty has no frame. Want to see something? I asked Craig. I pulled up the Foundation's latest project, a documentary about Margaret, featuring interviews with people who'd known her, her nurse, her friends, the lives she'd touched before being erased. She's visible again, Craig whispered. Yes, I said, and so is everyone else your family tried to hide. A knock at the door. One of our design students, a young man with prosthetic legs wearing a jacket from my collection. Sorry to interrupt, he said, but the Accessibility Council needs your input on the mansion renovations. Coming, I said, then turned to Craig. Want to help make your old house into something beautiful? He nodded, following us to the conference room where blueprints covered the tables. The grand staircase where I'd once been excluded would become a multi-level accessible gathering space. The formal dining room would be a design studio. Every inch reimagined to welcome rather than exclude. My phone buzzed again. Sean. I saw your speech. You were right about everything. I'm getting help, learning to stand up, not asking for forgiveness. Just wanted you to know. Delete? Roslyn asked, reading over my shoulder. No, I said, archive. Some chapters need to be kept even if they're closed. The design team was debating colours for the mansion's new facade when Julian burst in. The Margaret collection just hit 1 million pre-orders, he announced, and every piece is being manufactured in accessible facilities, employing people of all abilities. Craig stood up. I should go, but Juliet. He pulled out an old photo. Margaret at her first fashion show, beaming. She would have loved watching you burn down our perfect facade to build something real. After he left, I wheeled to the window. The billboard across the street showed our latest campaign. No perfect poses, no forced symmetry, just real people in beautiful clothes living authentic lives. Ready for the student presentations? Roslyn asked. Almost. I opened my laptop, pulling up the draft of my book. Out of Frame, How Perfection Erases Us All. The dedication page was simple. For Margaret, who they tried to erase, and for everyone who deserves to be seen. My phone lit up one last time, a message from the nurse who'd cared for Margaret. She kept a diary. Would you like to read it? Yes, I typed back. Every story deserves to be told. Roslyn touched my shoulder. The students are waiting. I looked around at what we'd built from the ashes of false perfection, at the young designers ready to reshape the world, at the walls that would never again hide anyone's truth. Let's go make some beautiful noise, I said, wheeling toward the future we were creating, one where every frame was big enough for all of us. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destroying someone's perfect picture, it's painting a better one.